have a confession. We've never watched Lost.
Now, we're tired of hearing about it, so we're finally watching the hit TV show for the first time.
Come along with us to the island.
And please stay close by because
we're so lost.
We need the X! We're also rewatching the classic ABC TV series Lost. I'm Bill Meeks.
And I'm Anne-Marie DeSimone.
And we're back for another rousing episode of We're So Lost.
We're So Lost.
We're a little less lost than we were 12 episodes ago.
I'm going to say we're significantly less lost, but I'm sure we just don't know how lost we are.
But you know what? We're always lost without our chat room. Luckily, we have a couple of regulars here in the chat room. We have Michael Lucero and Angel T over at live.universebox.com.
Thanks for joining us. A day late and $1 short.
Yeah, normally we have been recording this on Thursday. We're recording this Friday, 8:30 p.m. EST.
Yes.
If you do want to be kept abreast of when we do record this, I would recommend following the Twitter at We're So Lost. At We're So Lost.com. Or at We're So
Lost on the Twitters.
At We're So Lost.twitter.com.
No.
/Facebook.
We're not.
But you know what? The conceit of the show is that we haven't watched Lost, and we're kind of stumbling through it as if we were first-time viewers because we are. Just a few years late. But we do have some spoiler policies in place because of that. Anne-Marie, why don't you tell people about them?
Okay, listen. We like spoilers on the reg. Mm-hmm. On this show, don't tell us. If we hit on something that you're like, oh, next episode, they're going to freak out. Don't tell us that much. Don't be like, you're so right or you're so wrong. No, just be like, there is a payout coming or something very vague.
Yeah, you can be very general about the spoilers.
Right.
Like, oh my goodness, Locke grows hair in episode 14. You won't believe the bouffant he has.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. But you can be like, hey, there's going to be a change coming to Locke's head.
Locke is going through the change.
Yes. Through the hair change.
Just, don't give us the specifics. You can give us a general... things are coming.
Yeah, because that'll affect the theorizing and stuff that we're doing.
It's also why we're only watching it one episode at a time, and I am a chronic binge watcher.
So you're like chomping at the bit all the time to watch the next episode.
I'm dying.
But you can't, because then we wouldn't be so lost.
No, I'd be like, ooh, I know what's happening.
But you know what I'm chomping at the bit for?
This rhyme?
Yeah, to get started talking about this week's episode, Season 1, Episode 12. Anne-Marie, why don't you start us off with the rhyming episode summary, please?
How many corpses can Kate steal things from? Her biggest mistake is thinking Jack's dumb. She finds her effects while out for a swim. If the plane's so important, why did she leave it with him? A key from a wallet will soon set it free. Sawyer and Jack suss it out, whatever the case may be.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be. Anne-Marie, what'd you think?
Meh. I really went into the show thinking I was going to love Kate. Mm-hmm. And really, can she fall off the island?
Please, quickly.
Please, Kate, jump. Jump from higher levels. So, what did you think of it?
I liked it okay. I mean, it was...
that was encouraging.
It was nice to get a little bit more of Kate's backstory and stuff, but at the same time, it felt a little gratuitous up top, too. Like, it was like, okay, we need to get some skin in here, just to...
Yeah, that was not necessary.
Hold our position at 8 p.m. on ABC or something. It was weird. It was weird. And I couldn't watch it at work, which I normally do. I couldn't do my rewatch at work because... Kate was in her Unmentionables.
She was in her underwear.
Yeah, her undies.
I thought it was really weird, and this is going to sound so stupid, like, that Sawyer takes his shirt off but leaves his jeans on. Yeah. And Kate left her shirt on but took her pants off.
Why is Kate the only one who took her pants off? I actually had that in my notes.
It just didn't make any sense. I'm like, who wants to walk around in wet jeans later anyway?
Especially with how sexual Sawyer is, you'd think he would just like...
Yeah. Basically.
Down to the buff immediately.
Right? Well, but again, 8 o'clock on ABC, you couldn't really go down to the buff.
Very true. Well, they can, tastefully shoot it and whatnot.
Right.
Okay, but, why don't we go ahead? We're enough pantsing around about pants. Let's talk about the episode.
Pants off.
Okay, the first thing I wanted to discuss was the man Kate killed that she confesses to at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Now, as is the, because the entire question was what's in the case, whatever the case may be, as it were, through the entire episode. But as is the norm with this show, when we get an answer to what's in the case,
we get more questions.
It ends up posing a lot more questions. So just a list of some questions that it brought up to me. Why is the plane so significant to her? Who was the man she killed? Did she love him, or was that a deflection thing? Why risk so much just to get this little toy plane trinket back?
Thank you.
And why is the plane so important that it was kept in a safety deposit box?
Yeah.
And I keep wondering about it. And of course, you can't put away the comparison that this little plane is so important to her, and a plane crashing is so important to the plot of the show. I wonder. I couldn't see because it was so small, and the writing was so small. But was it an oceanic airliner?
I couldn't tell.
But yeah, so I wonder if there's some sort of connection there that will be revealed going forward. Michael Lucero in the chat room says we're not alone. This is his least favorite episode in season 1.
Mm-hmm. And Angel said she thought it was interesting that of all things, it was a plane.
The plane.
The plane.
But yeah, so a lot of questions about Kate. Ones I'm sure we'll probably get the answer to eventually.
Season 7.
But one thing I thought was interesting in the flashback with her, and it has a bit to do with, her killing a man and whatnot, is when she's very insistent that no one gets hurt.
And then she shoots 3 people?
Well, yeah. But, I'm wondering if they were bad guys, though. So I'm wondering if this is some sort of indication that Kate does have a moral center. Or is she simply hoping to keep the punishment low if she gets caught, being part of this bank heist?
I don't think she ever planned on getting caught.
She probably didn't, but I mean, that would be a good way to kind of like mitigate risk a little bit, to be like, okay, don't hurt anybody, because then not only do we have the bank robbery, but we have, assault, and I've already killed a man, potentially. But her breakdown, crying there at the end with Jack after revealing that she killed the man, it makes it seem like she regrets it, but it could just be another ruse to get sympathy from Jack.
And there we have it.
I'm thinking it's pretty likely, but I have some more about that in a little bit.
Do you?
Yeah, just a little bit. More about Jack than Kate, but involving Kate.
Okay.
Okay, so what are you thinking?
Why did she just lie? Like, why didn't she just say something else about what's in the case? Like, even Sawyer.
What's in the case?
What's in the case? Like, I don't know. Like Sawyer said, just tell me what's in there and I'll give it to you. And, I kind of believed him.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't open it. He was trying like hell. Sorry.
Okay.
And, like, why didn't she just go, some of my, when she says that it wasn't hers after saying that it was hers, like, kind of, I mean, it had her stuff in it.
I wonder why because he was willing to let her take it if she just admitted it was hers or whatnot.
Yes.
And she
because
let him
she
take
didn't have the
it,
key. Okay, just because she didn't have the key on her, like, I'm sorry, if I'm stranded on an island and I have a key to a case that I have no idea where it is, I don't know if I'd carry it around with me. I'd, put it in wherever my own little cubby is. But that also, why didn't you just tell the truth to somebody? Anybody. Like, I'm sure that she could have just told Jack that, yes, the case was the Marshals, but it contained something that was precious to her, and he would have been less cranky with her. There was no need for the sleight of hand.
Well, some people might say that she was telling the truth. Like Angela in our chat room, she says, I don't know, I think her feelings were genuine at the end with Jack. And but then again, Angel also says that Kate doesn't seem very much like the trusting type. No.
Not even remotely. I don't know. She just feels more and more fake every time she speaks.
Yeah, if there's one character on the show so far that seems like they could be, well, besides, what's his name, Ethan from last week, that seems like they could be a villain or like a wolf in sheep's clothing, it's definitely Kate. That's one of the things that really stuck out to me about this week's episode too, is that Jack finally realizes this. I mean, I think he was hoping beyond hope that she was savable, salvageable, that,
something.
Or that they had some sort of connection. But when Kate does the trick with the key, the sleight of hand, I think it finally makes it sink in for Jack. she's only interested in herself, and she'll string him along to get what she wants, even make a pretty convincing play at a connection between them. But at the end of the day, she'll get what she wants above anything else. That's her prime motivation, is that Kate wins.
Yeah.
You know, above anyone else or anything else, or the group, safety, any emotional connection she has with Jack or Sawyer. And, you know, we see this in the bank robber flashback, too. She's stringing the main guy along, and he
doesn't even have a real name.
Yeah, but you know, seems like he's pretty convinced they have a real connection and everything. Yeah. But you know, at the end of the day, she shoots him in the leg as soon as she doesn't need him anymore. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, now that I think both Jack and Sawyer realize how untrustworthy Kate is, I think eventually my thinking is they're going to team up to bring her down, or at least keep her in check a little.
Yeah. Jack is 815% done with Kate. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
That's
Angel. Yes.
We definitely agree, Angel, for sure. But yeah. I have some more thoughts about where Jack's going now, but I think this episode definitely set him on a slightly different course than he has been in the past.
You think?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Okay. Oh, no, wait. I see a giant novel from Michael. Okay, one of the things I do think is redeeming in this episode is that feeling of disappointment that Jack has in Kate, true, and the regret that she has that he found her out. Although she's very annoying in the scene, this dynamic does feel very realistic. Okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that crying at the end being like, oh, I'm finally caught, you know, too. For absolutely. Sure. Like, you know, a kid being caught with their hand in the cookie jar kind of thing.
Or the Valentine's box, or the Halloween candy.
Okay, but enough about Jack and Kate. Let's talk about something. Let's talk about the C plot.
I like the C plot.
The C plot was good.
It had depth.
Somewhere beyond the C plot.
Somewhere.
I
don't speak any French. Okay, no, we're not even talking that yet. Rose and Charlie, which I had to look up Rose's name because it's been about 10 episodes since
she only had that one little scene.
I know. Well, I kept calling her Ruth, but I wasn't far off. It's Rose. Okay, I love the connection that she made with him by pointing out that, listen, everybody on this island has something to be sad about. Stop being lazy. Just get up. What are you doing over there?
Oh, no, don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. I won't worry about you then. So, I thought that was really nice that not nice, I guess. I liked the way that she did that. She was just very blunt with him, and everybody else is very coddling of him because of everything he's been through, which, I mean, he was hung from a tree, so there is that.
Yeah, he still has the marks on his neck.
He does still have the marks, and it's been, I mean, it feels like it had to have been a couple days a week or so. But then, like, she reassures him over and over again that nobody blames him for anything happening to Claire, which obviously he blames himself. Who wouldn't blame themselves for that? And I don't know if he really believes that nobody blames him. But he's a little guy. Like, I mean, he's a little bit scrappy, but he's not terribly scrappy. So it's not like, you know, Ethan was like tall.
Yeah.
Charlie is not so
potentially superpowered android robot. Yeah. But I love at the end where she basically gives him back his faith when he asks her to help him. Yeah. And she's like, I'm not the one who can help you. And I thought it was very nice of that connection between them. Praying together, just because he had been such a religious and moral person before the band. Yeah. I thought it was very pretty. I thought it was very nice. Curious to see how that sticks around and how big and loud it gets. Yeah. Or if it gets big and loud, because some people are big and loud with that, and some people keep it to themselves. I think if nothing else, it was interesting that he was, after the thing went down with Claire, he had a very kind of first world reaction to it, right? Which is to kind of emotionally shut down and fall into yourself and everything. Something you can't afford to do in survival of the fittest island, right. Lord of the Flies kind of situation. Right. And I think it was interesting that normally when you see someone do this in fiction, someone like slaps them out of it and like, dude, what the heck, man? You got to get out of it. You got to get out of yourself because, there's a smoke monster in the woods. Mm-hmm. But to see someone approach it with kindness and get him to snap out of it with kindness was kind of an interesting little twist. Mm-hmm. I know over in the chat room, Angel says, well, I do agree that Rose has a good point. She too had her moment of sitting on the beach all by herself.
Yes.
And this just happened to Charlie, so it's obvious he's traumatized. And Michael goes on to say, good point, Angel. And people were working on salvage and stuff just as much as they were when Charlie was sitting there. Maybe the difference was that she had hope in her husband's survival when he seemed to be more despairing. Like, Claire will never come back.
Right. Which I have so much curiosity about.
Definitely. Yeah, I wonder if her husband is actually still out there.
She seems 375% positive.
Yeah, and it doesn't, from outside of the world of the show perspective, it doesn't seem like the writers would keep bringing it up if it wasn't going to be important. Yeah, for sure. You know what else is important?
Our Patreon.
Why don't you tell them a little bit about it, Anne-Marie?
We have what is called a Patreon. It's a way that you can help support all of our projects and podcasts and things like that over at patreon.com/universebox. You can make a monthly donation starting at 10 cents. You'll get all sorts of rewards depending on how much you pledge. We'll write you letters. We'll sing you a song. Heck, we'll throw a party for you. We'll do a podcast just for you. Whatever the case may be. Ha! Ha! Did not do that intentionally. Funny. But it's, it's a way to help keep us moving, pay hosting, upgrade equipment, keep the lights on in the house, keep us full of magic juice. There you go. So patreon.com/universebox. And we're actually, for those of you watching live, we're having our monthly patron hangout right after the show.
Yeah, right after this broadcast. So if you're around, stick around. And we'll talk to you and stuff.
It'll be good.
We want to thank our 26 patrons who are currently giving us $137.10 a month. We love each and every one of you, and we hope some of you join us in the hangout tonight, right after the show. Okay, now as usual, what we do here at this point is, and this might be the best episode for it because we've always been like, what if we start this show and then we don't like Lost and we want to get out of it? We need someone there
to bring us back,
a Lost expert to bring us back, to talk us down. And luckily, Michael Lucero very kindly volunteered to do this for us. So we're going to go ahead and listen to what he has to say right now. Take it away, Michael.
I'm skilled at mathematics and decryption, but this podcast is beyond anything I've ever seen. There are these notes in French accompanying some of the show notes on the website. If I could translate them, I might be able to make sense of it, but perhaps some things are best left untranslated.
You can get those show notes at we'resolost.com, by the way.
Hey, Bill and Anne-Marie, it's Michael.
Hey.
Well, this is definitely my least favorite episode of this whole season. Kate's probably my least favorite character on the show. I like her better now, having seen the whole thing than I did originally, but I still feel like she often gets stuck in the same character ruts and is often unable to move past her issues. And it's the same issues with her almost every time. Her guilt over her past, which is ironic since it was her first flashback episode that bore the title Tabula Rasa, and her desire to run, to escape. And I feel like this episode bears very little plot development or character development for her. Kate as a character doesn't really seem to change here. The only real revelation we have is that we killed someone who she loved.
And she has a little plane.
The bank, and we'll definitely find out more about that, the death of that loved person, more sooner rather than later, by the way. The bank thing, that flashback just seems kind of wasted. It doesn't seem to add much to the story, to me at least. I'd be curious to see what you all think. But I guess that's an interesting revelation that she killed somebody that she loved. But it just seems like we had to get through a lot of wasted episode to get that. I feel like Kate, in general, is at her least interesting when she's scheming, lying, and hiding her past from the others. And she's at her most interesting when she actually tries to move beyond that and be a real part of this new community, which is something you'll definitely see more of later on.
Well, that's good.
Especially with one particular character who becomes, in my mind at least, the major part of her redemption arc through the entire series.
The dog.
There were some
It's
interesting
totally the
parts of this
dog.
episode, though. The moving of the survivors' camp due to abnormal tidal patterns. For one, I think, of course, the external reason for this is that having the plane wreckage always on the set was too complicated and expensive. So moving the story away from the wreck solves that problem. But I also like that it contributes to the sense that the island is not a normal place. It still has tides and weather patterns, but they're always just a little bit off. Something's always just not quite right about how they happen. I also like the scenes with Saeed and Shannon. And Saeed is really the first person who's taken Shannon seriously and treated her as anything more than just a joke. And he shows some confidence in her, and in the end, he's rewarded by that, even if the translation ends up being nothing but song lyrics. And that song, by the way, is a French song, La Mer, which of course means the ocean. And that was actually the original song upon which the Bobby Darin song Beyond the Sea was based. Not the other way around, as a lot of people assume. And the movie Shannon's referencing, of course, is Finding Nemo, which I, by the way, have never actually seen.
You're not missing
One of those
much.
scenes in that final montage, we see Boone looking at Saeed and Shannon, and he doesn't really look happy. I wonder when we're going to find out more about their past. I'd be pretty disappointed if that didn't happen fairly soon.
That's in my notes, actually, that we need to find out a little bit more about
I know what
them.
it is just from looking stuff up.
Don't look stuff up.
Well, I needed it.
And I really love the scenes between Rose and Charlie, too. Rose is blunt and direct and no nonsense. And yet she's helpful and uplifting as well. And I think that I really like that combination of traits a lot. I really feel like whenever Rose is on this show, I think those episodes are always the better for her being in them. All in all, I'd give this episode 142 out of 238 bank safety deposit boxes. As always, thank you, namaste, and good luck.
Namaste.
Thank you very much, Michael. We always appreciate your insight. Anything from the chat room before we move on, Anne-Marie?
Angel says, I was wondering if the Lost Island was somewhere in the Devil's Sea, but probably not.
The Devil's Sea.
I don't know anything about the Devil's Sea.
Why don't you look it up while I talk about my next point here?
Watch while I Google things.
No, you don't have to watch her. I'll just put it on me. Okay, so another question, and obviously Michael gave us some practical reasons. But I was wondering, why is the ocean getting closer? One could assume that it's...
it's the Pacific Bermuda Triangle.
Okay, that makes sense. That's
Sorry.
the Devil's Sea.
The Devil's Sea.
But one could assume that the ocean getting closer is a natural tidal shift brought on by the sun, the moon, underwater earthquakes, all that kind of stuff. But it seems way too convenient. Well, obviously, there's a more practical reason why it was happening. But I'm also wondering if maybe the island or the smoke monster or whatever is trying to move the castaways further inland.
That's
is this
what I
the
was
trap?
thinking. That's what I instantly thought.
It feels almost like the police tactic of like kettling, like he's just trying to pull him in. And I mean, it's a big island, but I mean, just trying to pull him in tighter and tighter. And speaking of the monster, we haven't seen it since Locke did.
No.
Yeah, so the fact that they name drop it a couple times in this episode makes me think we're probably going to get another appearance of the monster fairly soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt very much like they were setting it up that it's going to happen, which is good because the monster's a fun aspect of the show, and I feel like some of the characters aren't feeling the danger from it.
No, because it hasn't been around.
Yeah, they're like, whatever. Maybe that was a hallucination or something.
Right, with the trees falling over. No, it feels like this episode was a lot of setting up for things that are coming.
Yeah.
This was like a transition or some sort of.
Well, after last week, that's pretty common. After last week's like major action-packed, what the heck episode, to have kind of a building episode before we launch off into the next big thing. So you wanted to talk a little bit about
The French scribbles.
Yes.
Okay. Shouldn't Saeed have at least been able to notice that it was the same thing over and over again, or something very similar over and over again? Like, he's still reading it. Like, sure, you may not speak French or read French, but you're going to notice like you would notice if the same word was written over and over, or the same series of words.
Maybe because it was a foreign language, he didn't even try. I mean, that's possible.
I did get a little bit of he didn't even try.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, it's French. That girl speaks French because she deciphered, the thing. But I don't understand what Shannon's deal is. She was so resistant to help, and then she does, but then she like stomps off because he's not taking her seriously, and then she comes back when she does figure it out, like.
And she's so like
She's the only one who speaks French on the island.
she's so offended by her brother's accusations that she's being useless, which she is.
She is. She was sunbathing.
But and then the second someone comes and like, hey, we have a really important job that only you can do, she tries to reject it.
Yeah.
Very frustrating, that Shannon.
Yeah, it was really weird. Let's see. Were the lyrics of the song written over and over because it was something that she sang to her son?
I could see that.
That's what I was thinking, and maybe that was a way that she was teaching him. Was writing them over and over again, just like you do when you're little and you're learning things.
I could see. I looked up the French lyrics and the translation, and it's kind of the same sort of deal. But I would imagine a song about somewhere beyond the sea would be pretty comforting to someone who is stuck on an island and has to spend all day looking at the sea, wanting to go back home. Right.
It wasn't a lot of it like the sea of sparkling waters and stuff like that. And I was just thinking like, that's kind of like the waterfall they found in this episode.
Very
and,
true.
There was probably bits of that song that sort of resonated through life on the island.
Let's see. Anything from the chat room here?
Oh, there was a lot. I have no idea what happened over there. They're still talking about the location and the Devil's Sea. Or maybe he thought that they were just repeated notes and are just related to what they were noted next to. That's fair.
That's very true. Because, I mean, math has a lot of repeaty kind of stuff. Like
it does, but...
Sins and cross sins and signs.
Sign, not sin.
Sins. Sinid. Okay.
Wow.
Big question I have. What is Jack going to do with the guns? Because when they first landed on the island,
think about that.
It was a big battle over the guns, and eventually Kate got it. But now he knows he can't trust her. He knows he can't trust Sawyer. He knows he can't trust because he botched killing the marshal guy. He knows he can't trust Saeed because he has this inclination to torture. So I'm wondering, what's he going to do with them? Is he just
he's going to give one to Hurley. One to Jin would be actually really smart because he's going to know what to do with it.
Yeah, but
nobody speaks.
Jack doesn't know that.
No, obviously.
Because Sun's still keeping it a secret that she can speak English.
I know. The only person who knows is Michael.
But now, a plot point we should mention.
Yes. Now
she's the only one besides Jack who knows, and Hurley, I guess, that knows that Kate's shady.
Right.
But I'm thinking that Jack's going to end up squirreling them away, and if so, I predict that he's going to be found out, and the group will resent him because they didn't have the guns when they needed them. Something's
going to happen.
Calamity's going to happen. People are going to get hurt, and a gun would have come in handy.
Right.
And Jack hid them, and they didn't have them when they needed them. And it's going to build some resentment from the group towards Jack and maybe might knock him out of the leader position for a little bit.
Michael says, oh, wow, I just realized why this episode is necessary to the season's plot, but I can't say why. Spoilers.
I'm guessing it has something to do with the guns.
I'm sure it has something to do with the guns. But, then again, we also had Locke with the knives, Angel points out. So there is,
I will say, though, Sawyer is very lucky the bullets didn't explode when he was throwing the case around and everything.
I think it was that case is so hardcore.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason it's so hardcore. It's so that stuff like that doesn't happen.
I suppose so.
Yeah. Okay. Last but certainly not least. Did Kate and Sawyer ever tell anybody about the waterfall in the lagoon area that they found? It was a beautiful area. There were trees that actually had fruit on them, minus the dead bodies that need to be retrieved and buried. But there was stuff nearby. It was a nice bathing hole at the very least. It would be, it'd be like, all right, I don't know, groups going to bathe instead of out to the ocean.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously not going to bathe in that little trickle that they have for their water.
But then again, it's not very fresh water anymore with some corpses decomposing in it,
It's still...
Those were some fake-looking corpses, by the way.
Real fake-looking corpses.
I could give me like a department store mannequin and a knife and
no, it looked like
Sharpie. I could do better than that.
No, it was like a high school haunted house. That's what those look like.
Yeah. Oh, Angel in the chat room says Jack should give a gun to Charlie so the precious baby can protect himself.
He wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Yeah, but I'd imagine that setting will probably come into play later on.
I hope so.
It was a nice little waterfall for sure. It
was beautiful.
Okay, so now the time has come to judge the episode, Anne-Marie.
The time has come.
Okay, let's see.
La, da, 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 da.
Out of 100 unmarked bills in a Halliburton case, which is a round number, which I normally don't do for
never do a
arbitrary
round
scales.
number.
How many unmarked bills in a Halliburton case would you give this episode?
74.
Why?
Meh.
Yeah,
I just didn't really feel. It was Kate. Like I feel she's dull. She's just dull.
The flashback was okay, I thought.
The flashback was okay, but then it led to like blah. I don't know. I think I'm just over her.
Yeah.
And I want to know what's going on with Claire. I don't really care about Kate and why she's having issues or what have you. Like this.
Yeah, it was really interesting that nobody was really out looking for Claire.
No, that's what I was just gonna say. Like, and I just realized this is that if you take out the Rose and Charlie part, this episode could have happened anywhere. This episode didn't need to happen here. So other than, the 4 minutes or whatever that we had Rose and Charlie. Oh, sorry. This episode, it almost was a standalone.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a setup for next week or something, but it felt very standalone.
Okay, Michael in the chat room gives it 42 unmarked bills, and also says the interesting thing about Lost is that its main male lead and its main female lead are both the least interesting characters in the show.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to give it a similar rating to what Michael did. Actually,
Yeah.
I'll give it 50, which is another round number. Weird. Unmarked bills in the Halliburton case because it was just, it was there. I can see where points of it were probably necessary. I was really glad that Jack finally saw through Kate, but at the same time, it was kind of meh. There was no big hook.
No.
It was all just, Locke's still working on getting that thing open, and Kate
but we didn't get anything about that. We don't know that they're still working on getting it open.
No, they went out there with the axe.
Yeah, but who's to say that's to get it open?
I would assume that.
See, I didn't actually assume.
Oh,
I
really?
kind of assumed that they are already in and they're like doing stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I guess we should have talked about that storyline, but it literally was 3 lines.
Yeah, there wasn't much there. Okay, and over in the chat room, Angel gives it 75 unmarked bills. She agrees with us. It wasn't the best. I'm not particularly interested in Kate. Also, there were these odd moments with the interaction between Sawyer and Kate about the case that strangely reminded me of a spy-like rom-com. So, yeah, not the best episode. Not the best episode. We're going to soldier on.
We'll stick to it.
But and we hope you join us there. Again, keep a lookout on our Twitter for when we record next. I think we're taking in real time because we've released the podcast on a delayed schedule. But for live viewers and people who check it out on the YouTube, I think we are going to be taking next week off just to kind of...
From everything.
Yeah, just to kind of take a breath and regroup and everything.
Yes.
But we'd love to hear your thoughts on our thoughts or on future episodes.
We want your thoughts on
Exactly. But to send those in, you can email us, we're so lost podcast @gmail.com. The Facebook is facebook.com/we're so lost. The Twitter is @we're so lost. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. I don't think it says we're so lost on there, but we accept.
We're so lost.
Yeah, 424-274-2352. Or you can comment on the YouTube videos, which...
As Yo-Yo has done.
Yeah, YouTube user Yo-Yo has been doing a lot of commenting on recent and past episodes of We're So Lost, and we'd like to feature some of them here tonight.
Okay.
First off, Yo-Yo really likes Michael's voice segments. He says, I love Michael's voice segment. I hope he continues to give his synopsis after every episode. That's the plan. Right. He's an official contributor, yes. Yo-Yo.
Okay, the next one was just catching up on this episode. I think this was from episode 5.
It was the Charlie origin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only just realized the Strawberry Fields reference on Charlie's tattoo. Thanks, Bill.
No problem.
And the word dream in the song strikes a particular chord with me, as well it not being real. Maybe they are all sleeping on the plane, and this is one big long ass dream. And at the end of the show, we will see them wake up on the plane arriving at LAX. LOL. The other theory is maybe they are stuck in purgatory, the island, and once they fix their mistakes in the past, don't highlight while I'm reading, in the past, they will die on the island and go to the real afterlife. Ooh, I love this episode. The supernatural vibe it gives off is totally up my street. I also like the episode numbers in season 1. Is it Harley in the special? Wait. Those are things that are not here. Hold on. I can't read that. We're not there yet. Don't forget there are 6 seasons, so they can't answer every question.
Yeah, it also says keep being lost, a good show, and stick with it even if it's hard.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't forget there are 6 seasons, so they can't answer every question. But the people making the show do say every question will be answered by the end. Season 1 is more about setting it up and teasing you and leaving you wanting more.
Okay.
Season 3 is when my favorite character in Lost is introduced into the show. So keep watching. Okay, and then one more comment. Great show as always. What are your plans when you have finished season 1?
As of now, go straight to season 2.
Yeah, are you going to have a break or continue? There'll definitely be a break here shortly for as far as the live episodes because we'll be back covering Once Upon a Time in Gotham.
Yes.
Every week. By the way, the DVDs of Lost are jam-packed with so many extras and goodies that they are worth a look once you have finished each season. If you love reading and love Lost, try reading these Finding Lost franchise books by Nikki Stafford. They are really well written and give you the feel of what it was like at the time of Lost airing, all the speculation, rumors, etc. Also, it is jam-packed with the little nuggets you might have missed along the way. Definitely. Yo-Yo provides an Amazon link here to the books, and we'll have those in our show notes as well. Finding Lost. We might have to check that out.
Mm-hmm. But we can't yet.
Definitely. But thank you so much, Yo-Yo, again, for submitting some feedback for us.
Yay, feedback.
Yeah, if you want to submit feedback, email us we'resolostpodcast@gmail.com. Facebook is facebook.com/we'reSoLost. Twitter is @we'reSoLost. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. Anne-Marie, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter @DeSimone.
And as for me, you can follow me on Twitter @BillMeeks, and you can follow all of the podcasts we do at universebox.com. We want to thank our chatters. We love you, chatters, so much for coming here.
Hearts.
And, hanging out with us. Again, we're not going to be recording a live episode next week. If you're on the podcast, you'll get one in 2 weeks like you always do.
Yep.
But you know what? If you can't find an episode next week, you're going to be just like us because, we're so lost.
I wasn't ready for it that time.
We're so lost.
We are so lost, man.
Michael, I don't think that's considered too big of a spoiler. No more bigger than the one the
ones I was kind of...
Well, I was feeling like the Yo-Yo comments might be a little spoilerish, but
I didn't read ahead. I just copied and pasted.
That's fair. That's fair. But that's okay. That's okay. We're big boys. We can handle it. Okay, but if any of you are watching Lost, if any of you are watching live, in about 20 minutes, we're going to go live with our patron hangout. If you're a patron, we're going to provide you a link to join in.
Yes.
And, sign in via webcam. Mm-hmm. We'd love for you to do that. Mm-hmm. If you have my number, feel free to call in if you get a chance. Otherwise, just refresh the page at live.universebox.com.
In a few minutes, yep.
Yeah, in a few minutes, and we'll have the new video up there for you, and you'll be able to join in and hang out and be cool. And yeah, this definitely wasn't the best episode because you know how long the episode of our podcast
was? Nice and short.
About 36 minutes. So yeah, we didn't like it that much. It's cool though. But thanks, guys, and we'll see you in about 20 minutes. Those of you who might want to stick around. Bye. Bye.
Hey.